Opening statement. Welcome to the first episode of the Downtown Ecstasy Side, Downtown Eastside podcast. A look at the Downtown Eastside from a frontline worker's eyes. I'm Becky MacLeod. What I'm going to be talking about to start is a broken government funded system. I think I'm being pretty liberal saying just that. I find what takes place downtown Eastside with some non-profits, or as I like to call them, nothing but profits, is way more than a broken system. It's white-collar crime. Now, of course, I have to say this allegedly, just like I have to say, I wonder if it's a whole cabal running the whole racket downtown. Allegedly. But I won't get ahead of my skis. But in future podcasts, I'm sure I will cover my suspicions. Today's topic, poor Vanessa Williams. I'll start with a spoiler alert and a disclaimer. First off, Vanessa is an assumed name. I only heard what happened to Vanessa through a mutual friend, and I never asked her if I could tell this story. And secondly, Vanessa is in fact going to be guilty of what I'm going to be arguing against. Okay, so many directions I could go with this. Vanessa was evicted from her place. She was living in a non-profit. She hadn't paid her rent in 3 months. How much is true? So, let me tell you about Vanessa. I met her 15, 16 years ago. I started working at a program downtown Eastside. It was at a needle depot, and actually that's what I wanted to talk about as my very first episode, the history of this needle depot. And if you don't mind, I'll probably be taking notes so I don't repeat myself on that episode. But yeah, I met Vanessa and her husband Larry, which is an assumed name too. They had worked there a lot longer than I had worked there. I started there at $7.80 an hour. And, maybe to be fair for the nonprofit, it was volunteer work. So they say. And on a per diem. Maybe I'll cover that more on the history of the depot. But they sent us out in pairs, and it was a magical time, for me personally. We gave it our all. It was I didn't know that, in my opinion, the nonprofit I worked for didn't give a damn about us or the clients that we helped in the Downtown Eastside, in my opinion. You know, um, you know, this is just my experience, uh, my testimony. You know, if anybody actually watches this podcast, they can fire back with with um, you know, their different opinions. I welcome that. Let's have a debate. But in my opinion, my nonprofit, most nonprofits don't give a damn about the community in whole. But um, nevertheless, we did. And me and Vanessa uh, poured our hearts out. You know, uh, we took our um, disgusting um, sharps container, yellow uh, sharps container, biohazard containers, beat up with blue tourniquets, downtown bungee cords, as I like to call them, wrapped around uh, in our rent-a-wreck bikes, and had them strapped to the handlebars with these uh, bungee cords, downtown bungee cords, and we would ride all around different communities. You know, the West End, Yale Town, the business districts, and you know what? We were a beloved program uh, for the most part. You know, pretty much respected. You know, considering we were mostly in full blown addiction, most of us, but we really did a service within the community. Picked up dirty needles. We're a ragtag bunch, and we'd put 4 hours in, and we'd come back. We earned our $7.80 an hour, but you know, Vanessa and Larry, they basically stuck together. Now, I'll try to stay with them a little bit. Now, uh, Vanessa, she was a little older than me, and you might not know my age, and lady shouldn't tell her age, but I'm broaching 60 this year. Um, June, I'll be 60. Vanessa's a little older than me, and she was never on the ministry system, which is important as I'm trying to build the case for her, you know, and but her how do you say, husband, never legally married, but been together for years, and he was a ferry skipper on a pension, and anyhow, she never wanted to get uh, never wanted to get welfare, never wanted to go on to the ministry. I don't know, call it too proud, call it whatever it was. She just wouldn't do it. And for the most part, uh, they lived in a Winnebago. Actually, when I first met them, they lived uh, they lived in a boat. Always facing hardship, these two, you know. I believe they had their boat scuttled by the government. Their Winnebago was towed away. Um, Always facing hardship, these two. But you know, if you're not familiar with the Downtown East Side, homelessness is part of our um, life. Sometimes I've had the history. I've been lucky enough for many years. I've had a roof over my head, but I've experienced it. You know. Sorry about that. I've experienced the homelessness. I've experienced the drug addiction. I've experienced I've worked the streets. You know, everything you can check off. Becky has done. You know, um, and I don't want to make it about myself, but today I'm 2 months clean, 2.5 months clean, and living a different life. But I'm still a peer worker, and I'm still an activist, and anyhow, and it still pisses me off that people like Vanessa are harmed by these non-profits, nothing but profits, that in my opinion should be good stewards within the community. And I'll get to the point where I tell you why sometime through this. But yeah, hardship was part of their existence. Eventually, they got into an SRO, and again, eventually, hardship. There was a fire in their SRO, and the place burnt down, and they ended up getting a place finally through the nonprofit that that we that we both worked at, and I'll finally say worked at because it was no longer volunteer. We went union. The court said so, and I don't want to give another spoiler alert to the very first show that I want to do, the history of the Needle Depot, and because that's going to be an important one. I so badly want to talk about it right now, but I won't. This is about Vanessa. So, I started $7.80 an hour. I'm not sure what Vanessa and Larry started at, but we worked and we worked right through the overdose crisis. We started taking courses, street degrees, Narcan trainings. We became leaders. I eventually started running a shift in there. I became a supervisor. And Leslie became my overdose attendant. And I tell you, oh my God. Vanessa. She became my overdose attendant. I'm sorry. Vanessa. And Vanessa, she could really work. I wasn't trans at that time. I'd just been trans for 2 years. But Vanessa could, she could work. We were saving lives. Like, it was right at the peak of the overdose crisis. And like, I don't keep track of how many overdoses I reversed. I just don't, I've never had them like charm bracelets or anything. I just do my job. And I'm very proud of the work that I've done and continually do. I don't do it there no more. I've moved on. I found such a better place for me. But anyhow, as time went on, there was talk that we were going to go union. And they started paying us more money. And the more work that we were doing, the more education that we were getting, which was a lot. Like, we had this one middle manager, who stole my everything. She was right there, the very first person that I told us transitioning. And yeah, she was there for me from then and there for me today, and she was wonderful. And I'll explain more about Sarah Whidden in the history of the Needle Depot when I talk about that in the second episode. But it was a very magical time, and we had a very special core unit that started making pretty good wages, right? But because they knew that we were going to go union. And eventually we did. And Vanessa moved on. She went down to another place, which was a free fentanyl program. So, like I say, she's in this other housing place from this nonprofit. But now Larry, he started getting these serious health issues and ended up in the hospital. And he ended up getting an amputation. I believed at first it was an amputation up to his knee, and then it was up to his waist. And yeah, Vanessa didn't handle that so well. And you know, when they hire on peer support workers, why we were so magical is because people like me were known to bond with the clients, which was important because they knew that somebody like me could take information from the health professionals and be that person that could relay that information to the clients when the health professionals couldn't connect. And that's something these nonprofits didn't realize, but middle management like Sarah knew, and she avoided hiring authoritarians or people that didn't have drug dependencies. Like, I won't say addictions. A lot of people don't like calling an apple, an apple. I don't mind saying an apple is an apple, like I'm an addict, right? Like I don't mind wearing that. I'm an addict in recovery or in remission or whatever. I don't mind saying that. A lot of people don't like wearing that. I wear it proudly. But so anyhow, Vanessa at her new site started getting into a whole bunch of issues with her management down there. Her management wasn't Sarah. And needless to say, when we went union, I don't know the politics, but Sarah is no longer part of that nonprofit. She's moved on to way better career, but she was no longer welcomed at this nonprofit. As disgusting as that was. So, for whatever reason, Vanessa had a very special bond with the clients down at that new program that she was in. But she butted heads, always, and found herself always facing discipline down there. And I'll tell you right now, that woman should have never been in any type of discipline action at all. That woman knew how to work. I was her supervisor. I'd vouch for that. I'd vouch for that. And if she happened to be going through some issues with her husband being in the hospital, amputated from his hip, not only that, going through dementia, and in the hospital for a year, and Vanessa dealing with nurses, and heavy drug addiction, to be fair. Now this is the case that I want to make. If I haven't sold you on this quite yet. These non-profits, nothing but profits, are willing to kick I'm not going to call her an old lady. And actually, one more point. I'm not sure of Larry's health. He might have had another leg amputated. I'm not sure. He's not good. I'll say that. I don't even know if he's out of the hospital. But after the service that this woman has done for this nonprofit, in my humble opinion, they should be stewards of the land, like leaders of the community. In future podcasts, I'm not going to be kind to them. You know, for many different reasons. I wasn't always chemically addicted drug addict. It wasn't until I was about 35. I worked in a lumber mill till I was 35, until I got fired. I had 18 years. It was one of the largest lumber mills, largest cedar mill in the world, Hammond Cedar. The manager at that company, he knew my wife, he knew everything. I always showed his face. When I was working at my nonprofit, I knew the middle management. I never knew anybody on the upper management. Never seen the faces, never knew them. They never cared to know us. When we got that union contract, they were so fucking mad at us. They hired mental health workers to come and work on my shift, to work over top of me. They had no OD experience, to make more money than me, and to come in and work senior to me on my shift. These $200,000 to $100,000 managers, I believe that's what they get. They drive home. You never see what they drive. They don't park anywhere around, so you don't never see what they drive. But I assume that they have very nice houses. And they come home, or they come to work, and they have these beautiful offices. I know my nonprofit had one on Hastings. It was serviceable. They've had it there for years. But they took away our food program. They said they couldn't afford it. And then they took away the blankets, took away the socks. Can't afford it. Next thing you know, they move out of this office and they move into this pearly, shiny office. Buy themselves company vehicles there to drive around, and they don't bring back the socks, don't bring back the blankets for the clients. And then they drive home. Why do they need the nice offices? They drive home to their nice houses. They get all this government funding. My point of view is, before I got Downtown Eastside, I spent a lot of time in the recovery world. Recovery treatment centers, recovery houses. And I tell you, every time, like 15 years, in and out, many different ones, every single one I went to, even the shitty ones, they all wanted the best for Becky. That wasn't me back then. That was Ian. They all wanted the best for me. Every single one. Even if it was walking in and getting Ichiban noodles with frozen vegetables in it and an egg, or a hot dog. Sleeping in a swamp with 4 farting other guys. They all wanted the best for me. Some of them until I proved I didn't want the best for me, and then whatever. But when I walked in, they all wanted the best for me. They got government funding, but they wanted the best for me. I come down East Side. don't want the best for me. They want me to stay sick so they can get a program, so they can start a program to keep me sick. Start a program to keep them sick. They don't want to get you better. They want to keep you sick so they can get money for a program. And then they don't help somebody out like Vanessa. You go into the recovery world, they make sure you get funding. They go out of their way to make sure you get funding and you're not homeless. I mean, eventually you relapse and you get homeless. But you know, they try to find you a place. They care enough to try. These people should be stewards of this community. They get all this money. They should be leaders. They should be pushing for decriminalization, pushing for a better life for us. Get us socks, get us blankets. I don't want that. I'll kick an old, no, not old, Vanessa not old. I'll kick a lady out at 65 years old. I'll kick her out to the streets. She hasn't paid her rent. She got money. Work with her. Her husband's in the freaking hospital missing limbs. Are they that ruthless? Yes, they are. They're really ruthless. Many ruthless stories about these people. Nobody, I don't know. I haven't heard nobody talk about these people. They're bad. They're really bad. I told my bestie Sarah about what happened to Vanessa, and she seen her the other day. She said, thank you for telling me. I saw Vanessa. She said that she thinks she's going to be okay. She thinks she's going to find a place. So, cross your fingers. Yeah. I hope I made a compelling argument. And stay tuned for the history of the Needle Depot. Thank you. Peace out.